If all you knew about Charlotte, North Carolina was what you learned on national TV from places like CNN, MSNBC, PBS, NPR, CBS, ABC, you know who I'm talking about, then you would know Charlotte was a hotbed of white racism, where white people are always keeping black people down. And cops are always picking on black people for no reason whatsoever. That's because in Charlotte, especially Charlotte, black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explains everything.
Is there anything we should know?
You just know that all white people are fucking devils.
And make sure you air that one.
Air that shit.
Now. Don't take that
all
down.
white cops are fucking devils and white people.
That explains the elevated criminality. That explains the joblessness. That explains the lack of education, the health care, the housing, you name it. But above all, it explained the recent several nights of rioting in Charlotte after a black cop shot a black guy who was holding a gun who would not drop it. There was looting, somebody got killed, white people were getting beat, people were leaving town, they were closing the downtown to workers. It was one big hot chocolate mess. And it was all because of 4 years, 40 years, 400 years, 4,000 years, 40,000 years. Let me know when you want me to stop adding zeros to this. 400,000 years of racist oppression that finally boiled over. Even the goofiest looking street preacher in Charlotte could tell you that. And they often did. But a case in Charlotte courtroom this week paints a different picture of Charlotte. This is the story of Doug and Debbie London. Doug and Debbie owned a business in Charlotte, like a mattress, one of these like mattress factory outlet deals. I think it was a pretty nice business. They had a nice home on the lake. They entertained their friends. They grill outside. Everybody seemed to get along. Everybody seemed to like them. Then one day out at their lake home, they turned up dead. All of a sudden, the cops wanted to know, was this couple leading some kind of mysterious double life? I mean, people don't just get killed for no reason. Was it some kind of drug deal gone bad? Was there a jealous lover or somebody from their past? Did they owe anybody a lot of money? Was it a murder-suicide? No, it wasn't any of those things. This is Charlotte. And if white people get murdered in Charlotte, chances are there's a black person holding the gun. In this case, there were 12 of them.
We finally know the connection between these 5 people, 4 men and 1 woman, all charged in the robbery at a Charlotte mattress store and the murders of the store owners several months later. Federal authorities say they are all members of the Bloods, a national gang, and they say from behind bars, the robbery suspects conspired to have the store owners killed. On to at 11 o'clock, WBTV's Colin Flaherty is digging into the court documents that spell out gang rituals and secrets. Colin, these are really detailed accusations.
Molly, the indictment is incredibly detailed. In all, 12 were indicted for conspiracy. 6 are facing the death penalty for murder in the aid of racketeering. These 51 pages walk through the criminal plot step by step. It's a story of alleged gang members who evidently believed they could do whatever they want to stop a criminal prosecution.
They are bold.
According to the indictment, Jamel Curitin from behind bars wrote a letter ordering the murder of Doug London because London was set to go to court and testify against Curitin, Nana Adoma, and David Lee Fudge. Police say last May, the 3 tried to rob the London's mattress warehouse in Charlotte. They say Curitin fired a shot. Doug London was there working and fired back, hitting Curitin and sending him to the hospital. Federal prosecutors say after police arrested them, members of the United Blood Nation began to conspire and plan London's murder. The indictment says in September, Malcolm Hartley got a gun. Later that month, Breonna Johnson allegedly joined Fudge and Hartley in a gang meeting to discuss her membership and her duty to drive Hartley to commit shootings. Tonight, Johnson's mother told me she seriously doubts her daughter was trying to be initiated into that gang. She said Johnson really liked Hartley and wanted to be cool and got caught up. But the next month, the indictment says Johnson went through with the plan, driving Hartley to the London's Lake Wiley home, where prosecutors say he murdered the couple.
Hartley and Johnson then returned here to the Charlotte area, where they began to dispose of evidence related to the murders.
But when the gang allegedly murdered a witness to beat the criminal justice system, it brought the wrath of the federal government.
You're not just attacking those two people, you're attacking the rule of law itself.
And the prosecutor said the gang members even celebrated after the murders were committed. Tonight, relatives of Doug and Debbie London declined to talk about the arrest, and their son said he continues to support the authorities and prosecutors in this matter. We're live in the newsroom. Colin Flaherty, WBTV, on your side.
It's an unbelievable story, Colleen. Thank you. All 12 of the alleged gang members are in jail tonight. They are scheduled to be back in federal court in a couple of days.
This week, 2 more of the 12 pleaded guilty. I think the one who got shot, that touched off the whole thing, and the guy who actually pulled the trigger on Doug and Debbie London, they both pleaded guilty. The lawyer said, well, they would have loved to take it to court, but it wasn't worth the risk of risking the death penalty, and what a bad thing that death penalty is for forcing people like this to accept guilty pleas in cases like this. Nobody's pretending these guys didn't do it. Anyway, let's learn a little bit about Doug and Debbie London.
In addition to our family dogs, he had a pet snake, bunny, turtle, parakeet, and a hamster named Fella. Doug would slip Fella into his pocket and take him to school with him. And if you've known Doug for any length of time, you will remember Rocky, the black lab that Debbie rescued from traffic on a busy road. And what about Fluke, the wounded, sick, scraggly stray mutt who wandered up to the London door? Both dogs were fortunate enough to enter that home, and they never left. When Doug and Deb first married, they bought a tiny cabin on Lake Wiley. Through the years, they transformed this home into a haven for family and friends. Doug loved to cook, he loved to eat, and he was the most gracious of hosts. Any of you who have ever spent time sitting in their glider, looking out at the lake while Doug grilled and Debbie said, I don't need a thing, relax, know exactly what I'm talking about. My life is full of good memories of Doug. Can you talk?
Doug and Debbie they both loved the Lord. They both loved each other. And the one thing that they really had in common is they both loved their son, Daniel. And Daniel, we're praying for you as a family of friends and family that are here today. We love you too.
So now all we are left with is just 2 more white people, victims of more black on white violence and criminality that is wildly out of proportion. And as wildly out of proportion as it is, this case is a reminder how it's even worse than it seems, because this is a case of witness intimidation that takes numbers that are already insanely out of proportion and makes them even worse and worse and worse, until some people in Charlotte are either moving out of town or just learning how to live with the fact that they just can't make the black kids angry.